How are we doing, guys? ALTV, Reading versus Leeds match preview of the game. So the game's coming thick and fast now. It's going to be an intense week. It's going to be an intense couple of weeks. I think it's 10, 11 games coming up in the next sort of 6, 7 weeks. So we've got an intense couple of weeks coming up. A lot of free games in a week, kind of weeks coming up. So it's going to be really, really intense. And it's going to be a stage of the season where you need momentum. Momentum's absolutely massive. And I think that is something we've got at the minute as a team. You know, no doubt about it. You know, I think we showed that against Luton. You know, it's purely momentum that won us that game. You know, I always felt like we were going to win that game. You know, I'm not going to try and be arrogant. I always felt the belief in the team. We tried to play throughout the game. You know, even when the game got a little bit scrappy, we still tried to play our way through it. We still kept to our philosophy, kept creating chances, and that will serve us well. That will serve us well. You know, I think it's times last season, I've talked about mentality a lot. But it's so critical in this league. Momentum and mentality is so critical. They're even more important in some ways than the actual quality of players you have on the pitch, the actual style of football, the manager you have. You know, in some ways it is as important, you know, especially at times of the season like this when things are getting intense, when the pressure's on, when if you mess up, when you have a bad week, it can really be costly. You know, it's going to be really intense. And I just look at it in a minute and think, the way we played against Luton, in the sense that we kept plugging away, we kept it hostile, we didn't start to panic, we didn't try and throw the ball into the box, we didn't just try aimless things, we just kept to our philosophy. And even though it didn't create tons of chances, we got the ultimate chance that won us the game. And I think that's going to be serve us really well in this game against Reading. This game against Reading, simple as we have to be clinical in this game. It's going to be a very difficult game. I think it's going to be a more difficult game than Luton. I think Reading and the team are in good form. Mark Bowen's had a good impact since he's come into the job. As Joe has mentioned on the preview as well, he's had a really good impact at the club. For Reading, he's spoken glowingly of Bielsa as well, so he will be well aware of what he needs, how he needs to set his team up. You know, defensively, they've done really well, Reading, since he's come in. I think it's 4 goals conceded in 5 games. Miazga and Michael Morrison absolutely rocks at the back for them. They're going to play a 3 at the back system. And for me, we're going to have to be clinical because the chances aren't going to be flowing. I'd be very surprised if we do get multiple chances in this game. You know, I think it's going to be very difficult to find the spaces. You know, it's going to be very much a case of Paddy Bamford's going to be playing against 3 people on his own at times. So we're going to need that movement of the wide players. And Tyler Roberts, etc, to be very good. Mateus Click, we need that movement to be very good around them. Otherwise, there's a real risk of becoming isolated. And I think that will be part of Reading's game plan. You know, they're very much a 3-5-2 team. You know, I've talked about the back 3. Morrison, Miazga, absolutely key at the back there for him. Particularly Morrison. I think Michael Morrison's a very experienced player. You know, I think last season when we played Birmingham, when Michael Morrison was there, he was absolutely brilliant in both games. I have to admit it. He was absolutely brilliant in both games, particularly at St Andrews. Probably one of the best defensive performances I've seen against us this season. He's a very good penalty box defender, Michael Morrison. So that's why I don't think we're going to get many chances in the box. You know, it's going to be very tight to Paddy Bamford. It's going to be touch tight every single time the ball goes into Paddy Bamford. It's going to be aggressive as well. So Paddy Bamford's going to have to be in for a battle. I know it's not really the style of play we play with, but it's going to be a real battle tomorrow for Paddy Bamford in that sense. He's going to be very key in this game. We need the very best of Patrick Bamford. Like it was against Luton, we're going to need him to battle. And that's simple as that. You know, I think Reading will try and be as aggressive as possible into our forward players. You know, Pablo, Harrison, give them no space, be aggressive, and just and almost bullying us to an extent. And that's not me criticising Reading. You know, a very well drilled team. They play good football. I have to say they play good football. The midfield 3, Andy Riamotta in sort of the holding midfield role, very good player. From the academy, very promising player. Jara and John Swift ahead of them. Good box-to-box midfielders. I think John Swift's one of the most underrated players in the league. Joe again on the previous spoken very glowingly of John Swift, and I have to second that. I think he's one of the most consistent players at this level. He consistently does it season in, season out, no matter who he plays for. You know, Reading haven't been great the last couple of seasons, but he's consistently performs, and he's a very dangerous player. He's creative. He's one of those perfect kind of midfield players. He's creative, tenacious, good on and off the ball, can pass the ball. He's got that kind of really good skill set. You know, very few midfielders at this level have. You know, great energy, and he's going to be up for pressing us high up the pitch, dropping back whenever they have to. So they're going to really restrict our spaces, I think, Reading, from that sense, in the 3-5-2 kind of system. The one kind of positive is that Andy Yadom is out of this game. He's been their main right back this season. Someone we were linked with actually when he was at Barnsley. He's been a very key player from the season, so it's probably going to be Chris Gunter at right back there. Very experienced player at this level, a player we've played against quite a lot. Then up top, it's going to be probably Puskas up top. George Puskas, probably one of the more, I don't want to curse anything here, but he's been quite a fairly disappointing signing for Reading this season, but he has shown glimpses. He's going to be dangerous. Don't make any mistake about that. He shows glimpses. He's got that quality in his locker. You know, he's got that quality in his locker to produce moments. You know, he can be quiet for 89 minutes in the game. He can produce that one moment, bang, the game's gone. So you have to be very, very aware of that. We've got to be very switched on in terms of stopping the ball, getting into Puskas. So he's got that ability to take on his man. He's almost like a wide kind of striker kind of thing, in the sense that he can play out wide. He's more than comfortable running down the channels, taking on full-backs, etc, etc. He's got that all-round kind of game for me, so it's going to be a real challenge in that sense. And yes, I know Reading aren't particularly doing great in the league in terms of position, but they are a much better team under Mark Bowen. You know, they gave Brentford a really good game on Saturday, really restricted Brentford as well, and you don't see many teams do that. Yes, they didn't create a lot going forward, but I think at home, you know, they've won every single game so far under Mark Bowen, including beating Preston as well. So we've got to really accept that it's going to be a real battle tomorrow. We've got to be clinical. If we're not clinical, we won't win the game. Simple as that. We're not clinical, we won't win that game. We've got to be clinical. We've got to take our chances. We've got to, that final ball's got to be spot on. When we find those spaces, when we attack those spaces, find the angles, we've got to be bang on with our delivery. We've got to be bang on with our decision making. If we're not, we won't win the game. And that's simple as that. We've got to do that. And yeah, you know, as I talk about it like it's a must-win, it's not a must-win. You know, I think there's no game at this stage of the season is a must-win. Yeah, of course we've got that winner on Saturday, and it takes a bit of pressure off this game. You know, I think we've got a 3-point lead on Preston. It's not a massive lead by any stretch of the imagination, but it puts a bit less pressure on us. If we can't win this game, and we only draw it, for example, it wouldn't be a bad result. It would not be a bad result. You know, of course, we want to win every game, but it's going to be a difficult game, this. You know, make no mistake about it. It's going to be a very, very difficult game. And I think Reading are going to surprise a couple of teams this season. I know, of course, you talk about the new manager bounce, but I think there's more to it than that. I think structurally, Reading are set up a lot better. So we've got to take our chances. The one thing I do want to see is a little bit of rotation. I think that's something we didn't do enough of last season in the midweek games. I personally bring in Helder Costa for this game on the right hand side for Pablo. I just think Pablo, just coming back from injury, playing 3 games this week is going to be too much. I'd much rather him sit out this game and be fresh for the game against Middlesbrough. For me, that's a personal opinion on that. I thought Costa was fantastic when he came on. So that's the only change I'd like to see. I pretty much keep the same kind of shape. Stuart Dallas and Calvin kind of protecting the back 3. And yeah, I'd go with something like that. But the only change I'd make is on that right hand side, I'd go with Helder Costa. Controversial maybe to drop Pablo. Pablo didn't do anything wrong against Luton, but for me, I want to see Helder Costa start this game. I want to see a bit of rotation. I want to see Helder Costa getting, you know, he's looked full of confidence when he came on against Luton. He looks like he had plenty of momentum. He played a massive part in winning the game. I personally start Helder Costa in this game, but make no mistake about this, guys. It's going to be a very, very difficult game tomorrow. We've got to be clinical. We've got to feed the ball into the dangerous areas. We've got to get the front 4 involved in this game. We've got to have the movement. Otherwise, there's a real risk of becoming isolated. Reading's game plan would be to isolate Bamford. We can't allow them to do that. But guys, I'm going to leave it there. I've been Oscar Marriott. Make sure you check out Joe's preview of the game and Conor's preview of the game as well. And we'll see you later, guys, and with our post-match reaction of the game. See you later, guys.